Hello, 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 everybody. How are we today? I am coming to you from a very rainy Bangkok today. It's a little bit chillier than usual, but anyway, but thank you for joining. Please say hello when you come in. Let me know where you're from. That would be, that'll be cool to know. And obviously, if you're watching the replay, please give me a hashtag replay in the comments so that I know that you stopped in. Hey Nat, so nice to see you. Hope you're having an amazing day in the UK. Hope it's not too cold out there. So last time there was some weird feedback on the microphone. So if this happens again, please just let me know so that I can try and wingle something, but hoping that the issue is fixed today. So let's go. All right, so today we're going to be talking about trust, and more specifically trusting ourselves. And within the group member questions that I get when people come in to the group, there's been quite a few people who have been asking this question around how to trust ourselves. Hey Trace, nice to see you, beautiful. Hi. And so how to trust ourselves and how to get that trust back once we kind of lost it along the way. So I have some good tips in today's training for you on how to recultivate that self-trust, so stay tuned. I promise I won't keep you longer than, let's say, 20 minutes, okay? Okay, so we've all heard about gut feelings or our intuition giving us guidance when something isn't as it should be. And so for this reason, it's obviously important that, we recultivate that trust once we've lost it. And when our body and our sixth sense is able to communicate with us that there isn't something quite right with a certain person or situation, then it's effectively doing its job at keeping us safe, right? So everybody in your life has the potential of betraying you. I hate to be the one to say it, but they may leave, they may pass away, they may make ugly comments, they could lie, cheat, steal, whatever it is, okay? The point I'm trying to make is that we can't count on anybody 100%. The only person that we can trust 100% is ourselves, or should be able to trust is ourselves. But that doesn't mean that we should isolate ourselves or harden our hearts, okay? So some of you already know the story about how I was bullied all the way from 1st to 12th grade about my appearance. And, it made me feel like it was dangerous to be myself. So I put on a mask. I closed up and I became even more introverted than I already was. And, I didn't trust myself. I didn't believe that I was good enough or lovable enough or pretty enough or enough. Okay, I think you get the point. I didn't have the confidence in my goodness, my wisdom, my love. I doubted myself. I doubted my worth, my possibilities. Nat, it is easier said than done. I agree with you. But that's why I have got some tips for you. Okay, stay tuned. So, and obviously, because my parents weren't in a position at that point in time, to do anything about it, I stopped trusting them too. So, perhaps you're in a similar boat. Perhaps you've also internalized the criticism of others. And maybe you've also hugely been exaggerating about things that are wrong with you. So one of the biggest reasons that I see people stopping trusting themselves, that sounded a bit weird, stop trusting themselves, is because, somewhere along the line they made a mistake. And let's remember that a mistake is only a failure when we don't learn from it, right? So now they've made a mistake, they see it as a failure, they start telling themselves a story about how they made a mistake and now it's a failure, and then that gets stored as a belief that it's not safe and it's not okay to make mistakes, okay? But remember, again, a mistake is only a mistake when we don't learn from it, okay? So every choice that led to any mistake that you have made was based on the knowledge or experience or information that you had at the moment of making that choice or decision, okay? And if you had the information that you've got today, you probably would have ended up making a different choice, which may have resulted in perhaps a different outcome. Who knows? But that's the beauty of hindsight, I suppose. But I also just want to add that very, very rarely is any choice or decision ever written in stone, and it's also very, very, very rarely a life or death situation, okay? And that means that there is always the option of pivoting, and always an option to remake a different choice or decision. So again, if you make a choice or decision that ultimately doesn't give you the outcome that you're hoping for, a new decision can be made to give you a different outcome. Okay? So I promised to tell you a story about what happened to me and when I didn't listen to my intuition, even though it was literally screaming at me for months. Okay, I kid you not, for months. So I owned a creative agency for many years, and it got to a point where I was completely burnt out. I was working insane hours, struggling to find the right talent for the team. We were in the middle of another growth spurt, and to be honest, I was just becoming more and more resentful of the business. I didn't enjoy it anymore, and I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to be doing for the rest of my life. I wanted to be doing something where I could give value to the world and just make it a better place. So I guess, to boil it down, I guess I wasn't fulfilling my sole purpose. And so, cut a very long story short, in and amongst all of this, I met a man who worked with us in some sort of partnership. So he took on some of the bigger projects that we maybe weren't able to fulfill. So it's fine because I could earn the business a commission, and him and his team would basically fulfill the work, and it was fine, it was cool. So this is great, I thought, and it's going to alleviate a ton of pressure from me, and then perhaps I can get back into alignment and I can figure out what it is that I want to do. So we worked together on some projects for a few months, and we formed a wonderful, wonderful friendship. He was such a positive person. He always had the right things to say. He had such an amazing mindset. He was so well mannered. Just, you couldn't fault him. He just seemed like such a genuine person. And we even went to personal development seminars together. We just had so much in common, truly. Anyway, so being a friend at this point, I expressed my desire to him to leave the business, and he jumped into action to save me. And he came up with this proposal where we could both win in the situation. He could buy my business, none of my staff would be retrenched, and there would be an opportunity for me to still be part of the business if I wanted to. So at the time, that sounded amazing, right? So my friend is going to buy the business, I'm still going to have money flowing in, I can still bring in clients, and if I wanted to get back into designing and being creative, cool, I could do that too. It sounded amazing. So I was very excited by this prospect and decided to jump into action and get this ball rolling. All the while, something inside of me is saying, no, this is a supremely bad idea. Okay, I shushed the voice and I continued. My mom, somewhere along the line, ended up meeting him, and she was also very wary. She's like, yeah, it sounds like he sounds like a nice person. He comes across as a really nice person, but there's something that doesn't feel right here. And I shushed her as well. And bearing in mind, mums are never really wrong, or at least mine isn't. Anyway, so, and again, anybody who knows me knows that I believe in signs from the universe. Every single day, in one way, shape, or form, I was literally getting the numbers 911 everywhere, okay? It really started freaking me out because of the association with the number, right? 911, cool, call me if I'm in an emergency. Anyway, I ignored those signs too. Seriously, this went on for months, but I went ahead with the deal anyway. And anyway, I'm gonna cut to the end of the story, but he literally took every part of my business from me, okay? He took my clients, my staff, my office premises, everything, and he didn't pay me a cent. Nada. To this day, he still works with many of those clients, still reaping the benefits of everything that he effectively stole from me. And I've been in a legal battle with him for the last 4 years or so. And thanks to COVID, we're still no closer to having this case closed, but hopefully that will resolve itself soon. Let's see. But that's been a major energy suck for me. And, at times I still think it might be easier to just kind of let it go. But frankly, I don't want him to do the same thing to somebody else. And so for the moment, I'm proceeding and I'm letting the universe, I'm trusting the universe rather, to give me the best possible outcome. So this is one major incident where I should have listened to my instincts, because they've never steered me wrong. They were trying to protect me, but my intellect thought that it knew better. Anyway, look, that's still a really hard pill for me to swallow, and it's even more difficult for me to admit to, especially to a wide platform like this. I was taken for a ride by one of my closest friends, right? It's embarrassing, and I felt so bad about it that I promised myself that I would never ever get into business ever again, because I was so scared of the same thing happening to me again. And I've had to do some really hard internal work to be able to get past that block and to really start trusting myself again. But here I am, right? Anyway, so my philosophy is that we are all whole, okay? We have the answers to every problem or challenge that we're going through within us. And the answers, I think, those of you who've worked with me, this is something I tell you all the time, right? You are the one with the answers, it's not me. So trusting yourself has so many benefits. As mentioned, it's your subconscious that's trying to keep you safe. It helps with discernment, right? And it helps when you're making decisions, it helps make those decisions so much easier. Having that self-trust ensures that you don't give up, and especially on yourself and what's good for you. And also, self-trust builds the self-confidence in yourself. And when you make those mistakes, it helps you to move forward a lot quicker. So, how do you build the self-trust muscle? Here are a few tips. Be authentically you. Now, I know that seems cliche and generic, okay? But the more genuine that you can be, the more that you can learn about yourself, and the more that other people can learn about you too. And that will establish how you really feel and what you really want, rather than doing what you think you should be doing. I hate that word should, okay? Number 2, be a friend to yourself, okay? Love yourself for who you are, and forgive yourself for who you're not, okay? None of us are perfect. Offer yourself the love, the help, the support and compassion that you're looking for outside of yourself. A lot of you will also hear me saying, like, speak to yourself the way that you would speak to a little child, or your child even. You wouldn't speak badly to her, right? So don't speak badly to yourself. Treat yourself with that love, the gentleness, the kindness and the respect that you want others to treat you with. And if you make a mistake, then catch yourself and say, it's okay, it was a mistake, I'll learn from it, and I'm gonna love myself anyway. Number 3, write down all the things that you like about yourself. And keeping track of your successes and the things that you like about yourself, it's really important. And on those days where you're feeling less than amazing, you're able to go back to that list and read about your positive qualities, and just use it as a reminder about how awesome you really, really are. And number 4 kind of goes hand in hand. Keep a note of all the positive things that other people say about you. Now, you've heard me saying that we shouldn't look too much for outside validation, and I stick to that, but in this case that might come in handy. Okay, so if you're getting compliments from other people, or you've done a great job at the office and somebody's complimented you there as well, add that to the list too. All right, it's still talking about how incredibly awesome you are, and that will just serve as a reminder on those less than amazing days. Number 5 is embrace stillness. So just for 5 to 10 minutes each day, just be still and be with yourself. Close your eyes, take a few deep cleansing breaths, just slow your mind down. Connect with the truth of who you really are. Again, you have all the answers within you, and there is not one single answer that you don't have. Give that a shot. Number 6 is a little challenging for some people, but keep the promises you make to yourself. So that means sticking to your commitments and sticking to the boundaries that you've set. And so perhaps that looks like waking up at 6 a.m. every day instead of at 7. Or maybe you commit to a 30-minute walk every day. Stick to that. Maybe it's a 10-minute meditation every day. The more promises that you can keep to yourself, the more that you will learn that you can actually trust yourself. It's when you stop breaking those commitments that your subconscious is like, oh yeah, see, I can't trust myself. But as soon as you start committing and you start actually following through on those commitments, your subconscious is like, oh yeah, I can trust myself. So give that a shot. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. So often we think we're limited, but in fact we are the ones that put those limits on ourselves. We are limitless. Okay? You have no idea how capable you truly are. It reminds me of, so when I started weightlifting, when I first picked up or when I first did my first deadlift, I think it was 12 kilograms. Tracy, you're gonna laugh at me. 12 kilos, it was crazy. And now I'm lifting like 65 kilos, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that would ever be possible back then. And so I think it just goes to show how the limits that we put on ourselves, as soon as we start pushing those limits, we actually we break what we think. We break what we think we can't do, right? So I think that's a pretty impressive one. So give that a shot. I'd love to hear what you how you push yourself out of your comfort zone and what the results of that are. Number 8, stick to your decisions. Don't second guess yourself because of something that's perhaps happened in the past. Remember what I said earlier, hardly any decision that you make is a life or death situation. So you'll always have the option of pivoting or making a different decision. So practice sticking to your decisions, and if things don't go as planned, it'll show you that you will find another way to resolve the issue and you will move forward. Number 9, we're almost done. Stick around. Give yourself time to grow. Don't expect that this process is going to yield results right away. Trust takes time to build up. So, the same way that it takes time to build trust with a friend or a loved one or whatever it is, it's the same with yourself, okay? It's not going to happen overnight, so you need to nurture it by being patient, by positively reinforcing good behaviors, and having an open mindset. And lastly, wait for it, trust your gut. Don't cringe or panic when you hear this, okay? Simply be still, get grounded, take a few deep breaths, okay? And then ask your higher self, is this a nervousness, or is it anxiety, or is this direction, okay? Trust whatever comes up for you. Listen to your heart in these situations, not your head. Your head is the logical mind. Your head is going to try and steer you in a logical direction, whereas your heart is what is going to steer you in the direction of your highest truth, okay? So always follow what your heart says. It won't steer you wrong. So as you learn to trust yourself, you'll actually start to discover that you actually no longer need the validation from others. It's, you know, you'll realize that you actually never needed their validation or approval to begin with. So that's a really, really powerful place to be in, my friend. Really, really powerful. And you know, as Tony Robbins says, quality questions create a quality life. And successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. So by asking yourself, what can I praise myself for? Maybe at night just before you go to sleep, you know, then you fall asleep feeling positive about yourself and as someone who likes and who trusts themselves. So give that a shot as well. So I really hope that today will inspire you and empower you to take back your power and to reclaim your self-trust, so that you can live the meaningful and happy life that you were meant to live, really. And if self-trust is still an issue that you're struggling to get past, I'm going to be opening up my 90-minute intensive slots from the 1st of May. And that's where we can spend literally a full 90 minutes digging into your challenge and clearing away any limiting beliefs and emotional blocks that you may have. And together, you know, we'll work on making that issue a thing of the past and move you forward into a much happier place. It's the fastest way to get clarity around a situation where you're stuck. So drop me a DM if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in, and I'll add you to the waiting list for when it launches. And again, if you're watching the replay, please give me a #replay. And if you know what you're watching live, thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you here. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to get back to you. And I'd also love to know what your biggest takeaway from today was. Nat, I'm wondering if any of that helped you at all. So I look forward to seeing your comments, and I will see you soon. Have a great day, everybody. Be well. Bye.